The APC is accusing the PDP of instigating and sponsoring violent protests and attacks against President Muhammadu Buhari when he visited Kano State. The party's Publicity Secretary says the PDP is conspiring to commit treasonable felony by sponsoring these attacks. APC described the Kano incident as unacceptable and urged law enforcement agencies to investigate the matter and prosecute all those involved. Okay, joining us now is the APC's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka. Very warm welcome to Newsnight.
Good evening to you.
I'm sure this stoning of sitting president or ex-president is really not new in the political annals of this country. Remember in 2015, the PDP's presidential candidate then, the sitting president then, Jonathan, was stoned in Bauchi. Retired President Obasanjo on Lagos-Ota Road was stoned because of the deplorable conditions of that road and the rest. Why is this so much of a brickbat between your party and the PDP, who's accused your party of, you know, failings in the socio-economic engineering of the country, and that was why the president was stoned?
Thank you so much for having me. No, there was no stoning of the president. Just to be clear, the president was not stoned. What we had was a situation that was clearly orchestrated, instigated by the PDP, of a few urchins who were throwing stones right on the fringes during the president's visit. But that is disturbing enough to have such a situation, because if you read the texts and listen to the press statement issued by the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, you know, it was as though he was speaking from the abundance of knowledge, of personal knowledge of what transpired. It was not simply just, you know, a cursory review of events, maybe reported by the media. This was, you know, someone who was speaking as though, you know, they were in the picture, in the know, with a lot of, you know, specifics about what happened. Now, if you see the video, that was not, the president was nowhere inside in that video. But the statement suggested that the president was actually being stoned. And if that is the case, or that was the case, then the PDP has a whole lot more to tell Nigerians about what they know about that incident. Because, you know, the president went there to commission serious legacy project, including a, you know, world-class cancer center. Now, why would anyone in Kano State not be, you know, I mean, interested in such, you know, a massive, you know, futuristic, you know, endeavor undertaken by the state government? So, you know, the story doesn't gel. So we are saying, and we are calling out the PDP and asking law enforcement authorities to inquire, to know what more the PDP knows and what role they played in the instigation of that fringe, you know, violence which took place in Kano.
Okay, great. So the PDP also condemned that attack, but you are saying it was not an attack on the president. Are you also saying it was not an attack on the president's convoy? They are two different things. Even though the president was not in sight, can you confidently say that was not part of the president's convoy? Two, it is also coming, or that incident, unfortunate incident, came barely 24 hours after, or 48 hours after the sitting governor of the state, Ganduje, advised the president not to visit his state. You would recall he made a last-minute U-turn, telling the president Kano is now ready to receive him. So it would seem as if even the sitting governor had an inclination that something might go amiss should the president come. Don't you agree? No,
I don't. The sitting governor's comments and statements were, you know, not about the president's, you know, visit to Kano per se.
He advised him not to come.
No. You know, the sitting governor of the state is the governor of the state, and he's the chief security officer of the state. In his assessment and in his comments, which were given off the cuff, he didn't ask the president not to come to Kano State.
What did he say?
He simply said, You know, he was speaking and addressing the issue of the currency, shortages, if you will, at ATMs, and made that comment. If he wants the president not to come, he doesn't speak to the media. He's the governor of Kano State. He has, channels of communication with the presidency. He would, communicate with the presidency in the traditional manner in which, the governor of the state will communicate with the chief executive of the country. So, I think the whole conversation about what Governor Ganduje, said or didn't say was completely, taken in the wrong understanding. That's not what it was.
Who would have taken it in the wrong understanding?
With due respect.
Yeah, who did?
With due respect, you know. This is a matter and a story that's been all over the place, in the media. Now, I'm sitting before you and I'm in your studio, so I will not even suggest that, your colleagues may have, unnecessarily, I think, put a spin where, on the point we're discussing right now.
There's no spin on these points.
No, there's a massive spin.
Statements issued by the Governor Ganduje
through his
commissioner to say that, look, the state is not secured, whether it's because of the currency exchange and the rest. There's no spin.
No, and then he had to go to
doctors here.
And he had to go to Daura.
Absolutely.
And then grant an interview to say the president is now going to come to Kano because we are now ready to receive him.
Absolutely.
So where's the spin coming from?
Here?
Because, the governor himself is also a watcher and reviewer of news. But, mainstream and, social media information. Look, the point is, when the president visits any part of this country, he's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yes.
Absolutely.
When he visits anywhere, the president is entitled. And I think we all expect.
And the office should be regarded.
Should be regarded.
Yes.
Irrespective of whether it's President Buhari
yes.
or, anybody else.
Indeed.
It is the office, because that office is a constitutional, creation. Now, having said that, I think that, what we're witnessing, where the PDP, literally hires people to create that optics for, photo ops and for, footages to suggest that Nigerians are, somewhat at war with their president. That is disingenuous. That's absolutely wrong. That's beyond the pale. Well, Felix, and I think that's what we're discussing here.
Yeah, Felix, we're very sure that the PDP, would be reacting to this. And of course, they have the platform here to come and say their own story. But let's look at a new development, less than a few hours ago. Possibly, there could be a synchronization between the NNPP and the PDP, and that's going to create a lot of problem for your party, will it?
No, it won't. It won't. We're not concerned with any sort of
alignment
effort to, align, rejig, recalibrate, reassemble. You cannot put nothing on, something on nothing and expect it to stay. It won't stay. Look, we're dealing with opposition parties that are completely lost in wandering. They're lost in translation at the moment. Atiku Abubakar, and I just, overheard reactions from Labour Party saying, there's no such thing. Look, these fellows are grappling, just trying to hang on to any straw, that their fingers can actually touch, to give the appearance that there's some sort of traction. Because, the campaign itself, they have completely faltered. There's no campaign going on that side, whether it's of the PDP or even of the Labour Party. You see, look, the point is that election day is, upon us.
24 days
It will come in a very short while. It will come, and we will see the verdict. But I think that this whole effort by Atiku to, give this appearance that there's something going on, and I don't see Labour and NNPP and the PDP, coming together. First of all, these are divergent, interests. And Atiku Abubakar himself has totally torn to pieces his party. The center in the PDP is out. So nothing he says or does with the NNPP or with Labour Party is going to hold. He won't hold at all, because he has no party to actually give to them to, sort of envelop any conversation.
Well, some analysts
my thinking.
Some analysts could also say the same of your party, to say that, you know, the center is not really holding. There are talks about President Muhammadu Buhari withdrawing from the campaigns of Bola Tinubu, not supporting him.
That's untrue.
After the Abeokuta declaration last week,
that's the wish.
And then he had to go to Daura, you know, to ensure that he continues to campaign with him. What can you tell us about that?
No,
is the president angry with Bola Ahmed Tinubu after the Abeokuta declaration?
No, the president is not angry with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As a matter of fact, I think those who are reacting are concerned that the president is actually super cozy and strong in relations with, you know, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And he's the leader of the party, don't forget. Because, you know, his legacy
But he seems to be campaigning against the party. Some of his comments are on campaign grounds. For instance, this petrol scarcity and currency scarcity by this administration, he criticized it on the campaign rally ground.
No, what Bola Ahmed Tinubu did was not to, you know, criticize or condemn
what did he do?
Policy. He was simply speaking to those who are within the system, perhaps who are seeking to undermine the policy itself. Because based on the policy...
Part of the APC administration?
Hang on. You know, the APC administration is the APC administration. Now, we have civil servants in this country. We have people who are there, irrespective of whether APC is in power or not, right? So what, you know, our candidate was saying was that Nigerians deserve to have, you know, the new currency available to them, to, you know, provide it to the utmost possible extent so that this shortage we're experiencing will be dealt with. That was his point. And saying that whoever is responsible for, you know, making sure that this is not the case,
immediately available.
It's
all right, but very quickly, before we let you go, very quickly, and the gaffe, the gaff rather, seems to be growing and growing. Colin,
you just said gaffe instead of gaff. You just gaffed, my dear brother. You say, look, listen, I'm sorry, but look, gaffs are a part of. I gaff all the time. You gaff, you just gaffed, you know, and I'm sure my dear sister gaffs. Look, gaffs. Look, you know what? We are faced with an election about our country, about the governance of this country. There are serious questions on the table for us to deal with. Gaffs or no gaffs, bottom line is that, you know, we have candidates who went through primaries, who are now candidates of their respective parties. And one of them will emerge. You will not emerge. I know that for sure. But one of them will emerge.
He's not
because they went through the system. That's my point.
Yes.
The point is that, you know, gaffs or no gaffs, we will have a president, you know, after next month's election.
Felix didn't allow me to give the second opinion and pronunciation. Good.
But I do hope that politicians have this kind of rapport, not only behind the scenes, but you know, in front of their followers, and not this back and forth between the PDP and APC over violence at campaign grounds or visits by the sitting president. Thank you, Felix Morka,
so much
for that conversation. We do appreciate your time.